Good morning, KS2, and welcome to our final assembly on honesty. Now, all this month, we've been looking at various aspects of honesty, and I think we've probably discovered that honesty is one of the toughest values for us to live day in and day out. More or less every day, we're challenged on that value. Are we going to be honest, or are we going to tell a lie? So the last thing I want to talk to you about in honesty, I want to go back to a story hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And it's written in the Bible, right at the start of the Bible, in a book called Genesis. And even if you don't know much about the Bible, I'm sure you would have heard about this story. It's the story of Adam and Eve. And actually, honesty is the key strand in the whole story. And it all centres around an apple. Not this one, but it could well have been one quite like this. So God created a fantastic garden for Adam and Eve to live in. In the Bible it says that they were the first humans on earth. Imagine the very best garden that you can ever see in the picture of your mind, and times that by about 1,000,000. This garden was called paradise, i.e. it had everything that anyone could possibly have wanted, everything that Adam and Eve needed. But right in the middle of it, there was one tree. There was one tree that they weren't allowed to eat from. They could eat from the trees of everything else. There were loads of fruit, there were loads of vegetables, but they were not allowed to touch this tree. Some of you may have seen YouTube clips about children in nurseries where they have like marshmallows or chocolates hidden underneath a jar or a plate or something, and the teacher says, do not touch the plate, do not touch the jar. Guess what? Everyone immediately wants to touch the jar and to touch the plate. But back to the story. In the Garden of Paradise, there was everything that they could possibly have wanted. So the story goes that apparently a sneaky snake, a serpent, sidled up beside Eve one day and said, what about that tree over there? What about that lovely, lovely apple? Why don't you eat that? And Eve said, well, it's because God has told us that you can eat everything but not something from that tree. And the serpent says, do you know why? It's because if you do, you would become as wise as God. You would be as amazing as God. That's why he doesn't want you to do it. And then the serpent sidled off. Now, Eve stood down and thought, my goodness me. I've got everything here, but imagine having that wisdom. Imagine having that sense of knowing everything. So, she went up, and the story says that she took a big bite out of the apple. And it was delicious. So then she found Adam, and she said, Adam, check out this apple. It's absolutely amazing. It's fantastic. And Adam said, but God told us we couldn't eat the apple. And Eve said, oh, it's fine. Nothing bad is going to happen. So then Adam ate the apple as well. And what it then says in the story is that they suddenly realised that things could go terribly wrong. They suddenly realised that there was badness out there in the world. They suddenly realised everything that was wrong about them. And they quickly got leaves and everything and covered themselves up, and they hid away from God because they suddenly felt fear and they felt shame and everything that they hadn't felt before. God came into the garden that evening and said, well, where's Adam? Where's Eve? And he found them hiding. And he said, why are you hiding? And they went, don't know, no reason. Then God said, did you eat the apple? Did you eat something off that tree? And they went, no. Apparently, if you follow the belief behind that story, that was the first lie ever told. And then the story goes on to say that because of that lie, God then made Adam and Eve have to work for their life in the garden and have to do lots and lots of other things. And then their children had to work and become servants to the land, and so on and so forth. So their lie didn't just affect them, but affected everyone after them. Now, whether you believe that was a story or whether that was true, or even if you've never heard of it, the point of the story is that the lie that Adam and Eve said didn't just affect them, it affected other people as well. And we've learned that about honesty, haven't we? That actually when you tell a lie, it doesn't just affect you, it makes other people cross. Remember back to the boy who cried wolf. When he told a lie, it didn't just affect him, it affected all the villagers and the way that they viewed him. So this honesty thing, it's really hard, it's really complicated to get right. And we're now going to show you a short video which basically explains that and covers that in a little bit more detail. So that's it, and as you can see, honesty's tough, isn't it? And sometimes you get dishonest by talking about honesty. All this month we've given you stories, we've given you advice, and we've given you things to think about. But one thing I hope shines through. An honest person gains the respect and the trust of those around them. And if you have the respect and trust of those around you, you are going to go far. You are going to be liked, and that conscience, that little voice in there, will be on your side. So have a good week. I'm sure again you'll be faced with examples when you need to be honest, when you're tempted to tell a lie. But please don't, because an honest person will always come out best. Have a good week.